welcome to Hedgehog Hollow. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about mica mists. So mica mists are all over the place. Nuvo, who are made by Tonic, have just released a range. I've got some from Dilutions, from Ranger, from Tattered Angels, all sorts of places. But I've always had some consistent issues with them, with things getting blocked up and that, so I wanted to cover that in this video. I've learnt lots of new things from classes I attend at Creativation, as well as some trial and error. So when you work with mica mists, they obviously have a mica powder in them, which is what gives them their lovely shimmer, and most of them will have a ball inside. So when you start shaking it, you hear that ball rattle around. I don't know if you can hear that. So when you shake them, you don't want to shake them up and down. You want to shake them around and around. If you shake them up and down, that mica goes up the tube, it gets stuck and it blocks up your tubes. If you shake it around and around, it's not going to go up that tube as easily. You also want to store them on their side for the same reason. The bottom of that straw that sucks up your mica mist is right down close to the bottom of your tube, of your bottle rather. And if you store them this way up, that mica is going to settle at the bottom and block up that tube. Store it on its side, the mica sits in the side, and it doesn't affect that straw in there at all. So shake them around and around, probably for about 20 seconds, and that will get them going. If you have the clear bottles, I have some of the Dilutions ones, you can see when they're properly mixed. They go from kind of a clear, looking like an ink refill, like a dye, to looking cloudy with that mica in them. Now, when you're working with sprays, you're going to want to protect your work surface in some way. If I had it out on the open like this, it really does get everywhere. That fine mist really spreads. So either take a cardboard box, this is an Amazon box that I've just cut the sides off of. You can pop your cardstock in here. This is a piece of Bristol Smooth, and I'm going to pop my Mandala stencil, which is one of the new Mandala stencils from the Crafters Workshop on top, and then we're going to spray. You can also get some really cool tents that kind of sit this way up. These sides here are slanted. I did have one of those, but my husband threw it out with the trash thinking it was just an old cardboard box. So I'm back to using cardboard boxes. Now, another thing you can do with mica mist is layer them. So I'm going to spritz down some pink first of all, just a really light layer. Now, you could either let it dry and then put the next one on, which is what I'm going to do. Or of course you could mix them. You could now put another colour on top. But I'm just going to give this a quick drying. So I'm using my Ranger Heat It tool. This one is really good with things that are wet. Let's take this out of here. It's not going to move any of that water about. It's just going to dry. It's got a lower airflow than your heat tool that you would use with embossing powder. So I'm going to go over this. You'll see that this cardstock starts to relax as I'm drying it out, like so. If it goes too far, you'll want to flip it over and also heat the other side. If it gets too wrinkly, then you can also just pop it into your die cutting machine. Don't put any dies on top, just put it between the plates, like so. And now I'm going to pop this on top, and I'm going to use a second colour. So you can see that the inside of my box, up the sides, everywhere, is getting really coated. So the sides of my box are nice pink and purple, and that's what your workspace would look like if you weren't doing this inside of a box. I'm now going to lift this up, and you can see that gorgeous mandala that's showing there in the purple. And before I clean up, I'm also going to take another piece of Bristol Smooth and put it on top of my wet stencil. Like this. And of course you get that resist of the stencil as well. Mica mists also work really, really well with dark cardstock. So this is just a piece of Lawn Fawn dark cardstock. I'm going to spritz it with some purple and with some pink. Like this. We'll take it out of our box. So you can see how those colours really do show up on the black cardstock. So beautiful in there how that shows up. Lots of other things you can do with Mica Mist as well. I've got lots of classes out you can look at to find out how to use Mica Mist. So I'm just drying this off again with that Ranger Heat It tool. So you can see there we've got a beautiful piece, and I really wouldn't do anything too major when mounting up, just a simple die cut, mount it onto the Nina Solar White like I normally use as a card base, and then I would just use a black sentiment over it. So these are 2 cards I made previously. So this was the initial panel like this one, exactly the same with that mandala stamp. So I spritz the pink first, and then I used the gold from Nuvo over the top. And this thank you is Pretty Pink Posh, and I've actually cut it out of black glossy cardstock. It's something new from Tonic, but it absolutely looks amazing. It looks like I've heat embossed it like a 3D sentiment. And I used just a little bit of glitter cardstock down here for a matting layer, and I think it really pops as a clean and simple card. And then this was the equivalent of this one, except I put it down onto some black cardstock, and I just used the Lawn Fawn Love Your die across the bottom there. I did a Nuvo drop as a little full stop, and then you can just see there, and I put some of that textured rose gold paper again from Tonic because it all coordinates as that matting layer, just to bring those pinks out even more. So I hope that that was a quick and easy lesson on how to use Mica Mist with some tips in there. Remember to store them sideways and just shake around and around, and your mist will definitely last much, much longer. Thanks so much for joining me here today at the Crafters Workshop. If you've enjoyed today's lesson, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and we'd love to see you back here again soon. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button or stamp it if you prefer. All your supplies are in the links below, and I'll see you again very soon. Happy stamping. Bye.